The documentation at docs.joomla.org is excellent in terms of planning what you need to do to get ready to move your Joomla 1.5 site. Step-by-step instructions about cleaning things up and thinking through your third-party extensions, including a tool that you may find useful, a third-party extension inventory worksheet. It looks like this. Make some notes for yourself about your template. We'll talk about this a little bit more later. Listing any third-party components that you're using and researching as to whether it even exists for Joomla 3 and whether it's the same package for 2.5 or for 3. What are you going to need to get to provision your new site? Sometimes we've installed plugins that aren't full components but just a plugin, an editor, for example, or the simple image gallery, maybe a font resizer. These are some various plugins that I used on some older sites. You'll want to check out all of that functionality. And if you've installed specific modules to be used on your old site, having this inventory of what your old site used is going to be a great guide as you get ready to make this move. So here I am in the back end of the fictionalized website that I'm upgrading for this video. Bentonville is not the name of the town, and all the names of people in this have also been changed. But to have a copy of a real site, we're going to take a look at the components to see what's been installed. What are we going to want to be sure that we can install in the new version of Joomla? So I use Akiba admin tools, Akiba backup. This site took advantage of a tool called event booking, the Ignite gallery, JCE as our editor, Joom donation. I've got a couple modules from No Number, which installs as a component for keeping track of those. In particular, this site uses the Add to Menu and the Modules Anywhere pieces from No Number, and RS Forms Pro for a registration form. So here is my worksheet where I've identified all of those components, and they all have versions ready for Joomla 3. And in the case of Akiba Backup, Akiba Tool, Admin Tools, and JCE and the No Number extensions, I'll just be able to install those, and there isn't really any content in databases stored that I need to worry about migrating. The Ignite Gallery, Joom Donation, Event Booking, and RS Form Pro all involve stuff that's recorded to their own database structures, and those structures have also changed. So 4 different third-party components here have databases that need to be migrated according to instructions provided by the developers. We'll demonstrate a couple of those in this video. You'll get the idea. But that's sort of the note-taking that you need to make and think and plan ahead about how you're going to deal with things. I think I didn't write down this migration instructions in this column because there's really just one registration form that the client had used in the past. They can download that as a CSV file to have records of registrations for past events, but there's not really a need to migrate that into the new website. We can build the form from scratch. That may be an easier process than migrating. It's always a good time to think about whether the data that exists is worth migrating. If you don't have a need for a continuity, it may be easier simply to install the new component and start fresh, building new databases of events, donations, and so on. In the case of my Ignite gallery, which was used for photo gallery, slideshow kinds of past events, we'll go ahead and migrate that. While you're doing your inventory, you need to look beyond just the components drop-down and also take a look at any particular modules that your site might use. Now, in the module manager, things are listed by type, and mod custom is just custom HTML. Main menu is a core Joomla module. Here's a mod donation and a mod iGallery. Now in this case, both of those have been disabled, so I don't need to worry about them. We're going to clear those out anyway. But if there's anything other than core Joomla in the type of modules, and they're not related to a component that you're also going to be upgrading, then make the list of that. Likewise, plugins. Sometimes plugins are standalone things that get installed and they don't show up anywhere else other than going into the plugin manager. So as I scan down this, I see something that relates to the Ignite gallery, something that relates to RS Form Pro, something that relates to event booking, and all of these plugins are going to be reinstalled when I do those component installations. The same with the JCE editor. And just checking, again, this is the inventory planning step, is to make sure that you have a complete list of things that need to be migrated and not just assume that everything's going to be fine. iGallery again, modules anywhere, we've already got those on my list of things to take care of. Ignite Gallery again, this is my little plugin for working with myjoomla.com, a service that helps me keep track of all of my websites. And again, nothing that needs to be migrated. I'll just have to go reestablish that connection. RS Form Pro, PayPal connection, we'll want to make sure that we rebuild that. But again, it's part of the RS Form Pro installation. So having looked at components, modules, and plugins, I feel I have a complete inventory of what I'm going to need to work with. The one piece that we haven't talked about is the template. And my template for this was something that I built custom for them back in June of 2010. So I know I have a custom template that I'm working with. I won't be looking to see if there's a Joomla 3 version of that out there in the marketplace, because this was built from scratch as a custom template. If you were using JA Purity or Bees or Milky Way or something, probably there are not versions of that, and if that is the case, you would need to be going and looking to replace your template with something different and something new. That is a whole new house. New wallpaper, new curtains, new everything. Think of it as an opportunity. It does take a little bit of time to configure a new template, but it's an opportunity to go forward.